Thank you, everyone. My name is Tony Spagnuolo, and I run sales at Rescale. We're a San Francisco-based company. So our founders came from Boeing, and they worked on simulation of complex aircraft. And the challenge that they found was bringing all the HPC resources to ultimately solve large problems like in the Boeing 787. And as the cloud became more mature and more relevant for HPC, they recognized what you could do is take this complicated environment of high-performance computing and collapse it down into a platform, which we call the ScaleX platform, that allows engineers to be able to access elastic resources on AWS to solve big problems like the 787. So the real question is, what does that have to do with the data lake and so on? So if you take IoT as an example, what you want to do is do things like, yesterday there was a major explosion on an aircraft. You want to avoid those problems. So what we can do is take the data from an aircraft, apply that to models that run on Rescale to try to predict when you need to do things like replace items, take an aircraft out of service, and so on. So that's the ultimate vision, to be able to avoid issues like happened yesterday where an aircraft engine actually exploded. Now, from our perspective, this is sort of a journey. The first part of that journey was software as a service, the initial deployment on clouds. Then collecting that data. There's a lot of data that's collected on a daily basis. And then the last is applying that to what we call big compute. And big compute to us is really about the models, having the models available to apply to that data to either do correlation, prediction, or other sort of parameters that you want to apply to that data. And so, taking that in a different realm, excuse me, there's this concept of a digital twin. So a digital twin is essentially an electronic replication of what you do in the real world. So from our perspective, we've created this ecosystem that allows you to quickly model those digital twins and then attach that to a big data framework, a data lake, to ultimately accomplish what you want to, which is to be able to predict both the best designs and avoid issues and innovate. So if we take an example, LSIS, their challenge was that they did not have an IT environment that allowed them to be able to build the models that they actually wanted to build. So they had the capability, very smart people, very good software, but ultimately it's about creating that environment where you can create larger models. So the first step in that journey was to go from creating simplified models that they were able to do on their internal resources to be able to creating a complete model of the entire device. So in this case, this is a power compensation device. These are very large, 8-9 feet tall, and you need to be able to model the entire system to ultimately get to that digital twin concept. At the same time, you need to gather data on the actual devices, and that's required for correlation, IoT, and so on. And having that data available to be able to do that is extremely important. The last part of that process is ultimately to have a robust modeling process that allows you to create those digital twins. You have design variation, you have different devices, and you need to have that robust process around creating the digital twin. Ultimately, what you want to do is close the loop between the physical and the digital world to be able to innovate designs, create new designs, beat your competition, understand how to resolve issues in the field, and so on. So this is the ultimate journey. This is the journey that our clients like LSIS are on with Rescale, and that's how HPC ultimately applies to data lakes to create better products. Just a little bit about Rescale. We're based in San Francisco. We're applied to the AWS environment. We're native to the AWS environment. We apply this technology to a number of industries: aerospace, oil and gas, automotive, life sciences, and financial services, and we're backed by a number of strong investors. I appreciate your time. That's our story, and feel free to ask me questions after the event.